Hi guys, welcome back. Wow, it's only 10:30. Oh, it's 11:30. My laptop time is completely wrong. It's 11:30 on the East Coast, Monday morning, and I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit fatigued because I slept for maybe 4 hours last night after having a very long conversation with a friend that I haven't talked to in years. Oh, it's in a couple years, but we go way back, way back to my post-undergrad days. After I graduated from Florida State University, I got a full-time job working at a residential treatment facility in Jacksonville, Florida, so that's where we met. He's actually from Namibia. We were talking about all kinds of stuff, all kinds. Cryptocurrency, coronavirus pandemic, conspiracy theories. So I'm going to do this video on human sperm competition theory. Despite that I'm a little bit low energy, even though I feel that I had adequate sleep, I'm starting to regain my strength. Even though when I initially woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I had a hangover, and I don't even drink, but I felt like I had a hangover. Whew. So I am doing this video topic in response to an email that I received, and I know some of you guys who are watching are probably looking at the title like, what is this? Because that was my initial reaction when I got this email. It was a video request that I received, I think it was yesterday actually, from a guy who will remain anonymous. He had basically sent the email because I had invited people who have questions on cuckold or anything. You guys can ask me anything. It's pretty much open. It's not just limited to cuckold, right? But I know that there is a growing audience of people who are interested in me discussing this topic of cuckold. And I've done maybe 4 videos, I think, by now on cuckold. The first one I did was back last year in 2019. I was really surprised. I got an overwhelming response. People who were commenting, expressing their gratitude for me creating the video. And I'm just like, I didn't even know this was a popular topic. I had no idea. So since then, people just like, can you make a video on cuckold? Can you make a video on cuckold? And here we go. I guess this is related to cuckold in a way. And I find it to be really interesting. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to really get into this topic because I'm just like, sperm competition. I didn't know that sperm actually competes. I mean, of course we've all taken like sex education in school, biology, so we learn about like the process of reproduction, right, on a biological level. And we know that the sperm travel, you know, through the uterus, and they really are struggling and trying to get to fertilize the egg, right? So I think we know that sperm kind of compete against each other because only one sperm technically can fertilize, you know, the egg, right? But I didn't know that sperm from different men compete to fertilize an egg. So I'll read you guys the email I received yesterday from this guy. He says, hi Danny, which is my YouTube handle name, right? He's like, by the way guys, oh, it dried up. I had like some water stains, not cum stains, but water stain. But it did dry. I was hoping it dried. Water dries really fast. Thank God for the AC that I have. You guys hear the AC in the background. Excuse me, okay? I do live in New York City. It's hot as fuck. So I'm not about to burn up doing this video because I know this topic can get pretty heated up in here. You know, with no AC on, I'm going to be drenching sweat, okay? So he says, I often view your posts and like what you have to say on a number of topics. I'm like, do you? I especially like your he invited me to dinner, should I go video. I made that the other day. I was walking in near like Times Square area, which is not too far from where I live, and I got approached by this guy who just had to invite me out on a dinner date, you know, really really persistent, really trying to get me to go the same day that we met. I'm like, you just met me, right? Go back and watch the video. And he says, your descriptions of the encounter was excellent. By the way, it's common for men to have erections while talking, excuse me guys for the typo errors, okay, while communicating, because like I said, my brain my brain is like functioning on like a little lesser capacity than normal, as I had lesser sleep last night. All right. He liked my description of the encounter was excellent, basically he said. By the way, it's common for men to have erections while talking to a pretty girl, because I talked about the guy asking me for my number and inviting me out on a dinner date the same day we crossed paths. While he was doing that, I noticed he had an erection in his pants. I'm like, seriously? I got turned off by it, by the way. I'm like, I don't know you like that. He says, if we were in a relationship, quote unquote relationship, with you, I will be so turned on by that. Women need to be careful when meeting someone new. May I volunteer to be your chaperone? Like, chaperone? What you trying to spy? What is this? Be a peeping Tom? Be a voyeur just watching me? People have all kind of like fetishes and fantasies, you know. I don't judge, but I'm just teasing with you. Women need to be careful when meeting someone new. Got that right. I'm glad he understands, because I was asking people, you know, of course, should I go on this date, just to see what you guys say. I already made up my mind I wasn't going to go, but I was just going to see what you guys was going to say. And some people was like, yeah, you should go. I'm just like, no, I have reservations. I can't do that, you know, like I have to protect myself. May I volunteer to be a chaperone? Just like to feel the heat when sparks fly. Bet you do. Okay, so then he goes in the second paragraph. He says, would like to see more videos, see, I should have probably just got more sleep before doing this video, but I'm like, no, I really want to go do this video. Like, I have more energy. Let's do this video. All right. He says, would like to see more of those types of videos, right? Please do a video on human sperm competition theory. Uppercase letters. As it relates to evolutionary psychology. And when I read it, I'm just like, human sperm competition theory. It kind of, the title is like kind of self-explanatory, right? But I still had to look it up. I'm like, what? It sounded something more like scholarly, right? Scholarly type of topic. I have no problem going on the scholarly grounds, because you guys know I'm actually a 5th year PhD student now. I just finished my 4th year. 4 years coursework and practicum and seeing clients in Los Angeles, California for the past 4 years. I finished that, so I'm approaching my 5th year, which consists of a full-time paid internship here in New York City. So I have some downtime. I have a lot of downtime considering the pandemic that we are under. And I haven't really been immersed in the scholarly world per se, outside of me doing my data collection for my dissertation. So it's kind of refreshing to kind of go back to the scholarly world. Like, he's inviting me to come back to re-immerse myself in the world of, you know, research, which that's up my alley anyway, because I've been on this break, this hiatus for a while. So of course you go to Google, right? Best friend Google. I type in those words, human sperm competition theory. And I'm just going to kind of do a summary of what came up, what I noticed that came up. Now, I didn't really go into too much detail in my research. I could have, and I can always revisit this topic. Feel free, if you guys feel that I'm not covering this topic in depth as you would like for me to, ask questions, drop your questions below. You can always email me privately. You don't have to do it publicly and drop your questions below. You can always email me privately. You know, I'll make sure you remain anonymous, you know, protect your identity. And we go from there, right? So, like I said, I didn't go into too much detail. I came across some articles, and I'm going to talk about that here. I came across some articles. You know, guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but with scholarly research, a lot of it is really protected, right? So you have to like have an inside connect to be able to access the full article, which I do, because I'm a graduate student. I'm attached to a university who gives us access to all these professional articles and these journals. So I could have got the full access to this article, but I didn't. For the sake of this video, I read the abstract because I felt like the abstract of the article pretty much captured the essence of it, right? But before I get into the article, I'm going to just kind of read this quick blurb here that I pulled from Wikipedia on what the fuck is sperm competition, because I'm just like, damn, sperm, they trying to compete, trying to get to that egg, you know, sperm from different men. Just like, okay. And it's funny because when I read the term, right, that he put in the email, human sperm competition theory, I'm like, what the hell does this got to do with cuckold? Like, I know you're emailing me because you want me to make cuckold videos. I think that the title of his email had cuckold in it or something. I'll get a lot of emails, mostly from white men. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're not white, correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure this guy is white. They have a fascination. I guess I don't want to say obsession, make you guys sound like a little bit weird, but they have a, you know, Alright, so Wikipedia says sperm competition is a form of post-copulatory sexual selection. And some of these words I had to look up. I'm like, what? What? Post-copulatory, which basically means post-sexual activity. I'm just like, okay, why don't you just say that, right? But I guess they want to sound all scholarly, right, to make themselves distinguish themselves from the general public. I'm like, you could have just said after fucking. We understand that. Put that shit in layman terms. We understand fucking, just after fucking. But I get it. This is scholarly stuff, right? Whereby male ejaculates simultaneously physically compete to fertilize a single ovum. Ejaculates, I didn't Google ejaculates, but I kind of used the context to translate, to define the word, right? And I assume that's just ejaculation. It's the sperm that comes out after a man ejaculates, right? Y'all can always correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, sperm competition occurs between sperm from two or more rival males when they make an attempt to fertilize a female within a sufficiently short period of time. Sufficiently short period of time. They have an asterisk there that links to a source where it came from, which I didn't click on it, you know, because this video probably would way long if I actually really go into depth that, you know, but you guys can always follow up with your own research. Interesting. This results primarily as a consequence of polyandrous mating systems. I'm like, there we go, finally. You know, it was like within the first few sentences. There we go, polyandrous. I'm like, okay, now we're hitting back to the significance of this question that he has. Because I'm just like, what does it got to do with anything? Or due to extra pair copulations of females, which increases the chance of cuckoldry, in which the male mate raises a child that is not genetically related to him. They have so many different variations of what cuckold means. Because you guys know when I made my first video on cuckold, I'm just like, I have a general working understanding of what cuckold is. But even someone corrected me and was just like, oh, well, the woman doesn't really give permission. Or the man, sorry. The man who becomes a cuckold in the relationship, doesn't necessarily give his wife permission to have sex with these men. He just becomes a cuckold by happenstance because she has sex outside of their marriage with another man. But he does choose to stay. So don't make it seem like he just doesn't have any agency over what's happening here. Like, he chose to be in that relationship. So he's giving consent by choosing to stay. Basically, right? I mean, we're all adults here. We can do what the hell we want to do. But you make decisions, and your decisions impact what happens thereafter. It's a conscious decision to stay. So you choose to accept what comes along with that. Sperm competition among males has resulted in numerous physiological and psychological adaptations, including the relative size of testes, the size of the sperm midpiece, prudent sperm allocation, and behaviors relating to sexual coercion. And I read a little bit deeper. I'm going to get into the article in a minute. And I was just like, interesting. It's resulted. We gotta be careful, like, understanding it and trying to analyze or interpret what the hell are they really saying. Because to say that something resulted means that something caused that, right? If it came as a result, something had to cause the result. And we all know, in research, especially research involving human participants, causation is kind of hard to prove. I mean, you can do correlation, but causation, to say something caused something to happen, is a certain kind of experiment that has to take place, where you control many variables. And initially, I'm gonna tell you guys my initial reaction also. When I saw the human sperm competition theory, I'm just like, and I saw the scholarly articles that came up, I'm like, how the hell they do research on stuff like this? We'll get into that in a minute. However, this is not without consequences. The production of large amounts of sperm is costly, and therefore researchers have predicted that males will produce larger amounts of semen when there is a perceived or known increase in sperm competition. Because that's what I was trying to figure out. It's like, okay, basically the tenet of this theory is saying that men produce more sperm when there's competition from other men who are competing to fertilize this egg inside a woman that they share, right? But I'm like, biologically, that has to be connected to the person's psychology, which means there has to be a certain degree of perception in there. Because I'm just like, how? And I know our bodies are like really very special. Like they're very dynamic, right? I mean, the biology is amazing, how our bodies function, you know. But I'm just like, for it to just be a biological basis only, separate from a psychological basis, to me, this theory would not make sense. But it definitely makes sense to connect it to the psychology of a person, which would be the perception. Because the man will have to perceive that there is a threat, right? Because like, how the hell will sperm know that other sperm are trying to fertilize? But then I read a little bit further, and I saw where they said that there was that sperm can attack other sperm from other men, right? So let's say a woman is sleeping with two men. She's polyandrous. And she has sex with one man on Monday. Today is Monday. She has sex with one man on Monday. And then in comes another man, because according to this theory, it has to be within a relatively short period of time. So on Tuesday, tomorrow, she has unprotected sex, right, with another man. And then they ejaculate inside her. I'm like, how the hell the sperm? sperm got a brain of their own. Like, how the hell they know other sperm are there, right? And then after the ejaculation happens, right, the sperm is inside the woman. You got the sperm of man A inside the woman. Let's say man A is from New York City and man B is from Jersey City. Because I am in New York. I'm just joking, you guys, but I have to make this relatable. How in the hell Jersey City sperm man is gonna know that New York City sperm is inside this woman? Like, does sperm have a sensibility to be able to detect the difference? Like, they come across and like, oh no, this is foreign, this is not related to us, it's not part of our sperm family, so we're gonna attack you. And I was reading about this sperm attack that happens. This is all theoretical, like, who knows if this is really true. Hi Abraham, thank you for your compliment. You're in Sierra Leone, by the way, right? How in the hell Jersey City sperm, who follows New York City sperm? No, it's a different sperm. And they say that the sperm that are trying to attack the other sperm, they release enzymes that kill off. And they say that some sperm are released only for the function of killing other sperm. They aren't even made to, well, this is all theoretical, like I said. It's not really made to fertilize the egg. They're made to kill off the other sperm from the other male, from the rival male, as they call it. I'm like, what? I swear this sounds like pseudoscience, but let's continue. Where was I? Yeah, when there is a perceived or known increase. So it's like somehow that perception trickles down to the man's penis and affects his biology, his male reproductive biology, to an extent where maybe he has enlarged testes and he produces more sperm, more semen. It's like you got to get to that, you got to be able to fertilize that egg. And I'm gonna tell y'all why I think it's pseudoscience, because I'm just like, I guess there would have to be a backdrop of understanding that this man wants to impregnate, because it's kind of like they make the assumption that within this theory that men want to impregnate a woman. You got a lot of men that don't want to impregnate a woman, so why would his sperm work so hard, even to the extent of killing off other sperm, rival sperm from other men, when this makes no sense. What is the normal size of male reproductive organ? What are 3 main parts of the male? Alright, so it's, to me, that it makes no sense whatsoever. It's just like, okay, well, we're gonna go with it. We're gonna continue. Sperm competition is not exclusive to humans and has been studied extensively in other primates as well as throughout much of the animal kingdom. So the article that I'm going to get into is actually published in a journal called Animal Behavior. Because initially my reaction when I saw this, came across this theory, and I'm Googling and the articles came up, and I'm like, who is producing research on such things? And where is this stuff published? Because we know in America, this kind of stuff, I mean, it's not likely to fly. Because I'm like, how are you guys being able to research this? Like, how can you study the amount of sperm that a man produces? What laboratory are you doing this in, right? Because we know, like, in America, research universities are very kind of they're very protective of human research participants, like, but yet and still, I mean, you'll be surprised the different types of research that makes it through the IRB. I mean, obviously, especially with pharmaceuticals, we know from the dangers of these pharmaceutical medications, but yet these research studies that are designed to test the effects of this medication in human beings it makes it through the IRB, you know. But there has been some history of research studies, especially within psychology, that have raised some red flags, and therefore, you know, it's really difficult to get some research passed. There was a Milgram study done out of Yale University. There was a Zimbardo study done out of Stanford University. Poor little Albert study that was done. Just very unethical studies that have been done that really didn't consider human beings and our safety, our psychological safety and well-being, and, you know, even physical safety too. So because of the research studies that have been done, unethical research studies, like, there has been extra precautions taken in research universities, allowing researchers, or, you know, students, graduate students, to be able to conduct research, you know, and even professors at that level. So it makes sense. So that's the first thing that came up. I'm just like, what research university is allowing this? But then I looked at one of the articles, and it's published in Animal Behavior Journal. Behavior spelled with a U. So we know that's out of the UK, because that's how they spell behavior. And I'm looking at the date, and I'm like, I'm new to this, but you'll be surprised. So much information out there that we don't even know about. You're like, what? They have research studies on this? 1993. 1993, guys. Throwback. Throwback. So the name of this article here is Human Sperm Competition, Ejaculate Adjustment by Males and the Function of Masturbation. And it came out of University of Manchester in UK. I'm like, oh, y'all get to have fun over there. Like, sometimes I get jealous, like, of the research studies that come out of other universities outside the US. I'm just like, I'll just be researching all kinds of stuff, whereas in the US, they want to be particular about what we can, you know, research, unless of course it's backed by a lot of money, and money rules in America, we know that. So if you got money, you're getting paid from it to fund these research studies, and the hosting institution can make money, all kind of safeguards in place. You can probably do research on anything, you know. You get people's consent, they consent, there's no coercion that's forcing them to participate, then hey. And especially if the benefits of the study outweigh the risks. So, this is what this research found. It became available online May 2002. But, yeah, I think it was published back in 1993. Throwback. I'm just like, wow. And it falls under the subject of biology. It came out of the Department of Environmental Biology and at the University of Manchester. I hope you guys can hear me above this freaking AC. This shit is so loud. Alright, so I'm going to read you guys the abstract, which I find to be quite eye-opening. Ibrahim, okay? You're asking questions that you think are related, but it's not directly related to what we're talking about here, okay? So, the abstract says, sperm competition theory argues that the number of sperm inseminated into a female by a male is a trade-off between two opposing pressures. Who would have known that there's outside sources that can impact the amount of sperm that a man releases into a woman? You know, I mean, I know you guys probably have watched some X-rated videos and you see the ejaculation. I thought it was just a matter of nature. I didn't think nurture would play a role in this. And the whole nature-nurture debate basically is a person born with something, whatever that something is, or is it a function of the environment in which that individual, you know, has been exposed to, right? So basically this is saying that it's nurture. It says, on the one hand, the risk that sperm may find themselves in competition with the sperm from another male favors the male inseminating more sperm. The risk that the sperm may find, because like we said, like I already said when I was reading the blurb from Wikipedia, because this is actually the abstract from a actual article or research study that was done in the UK. But it's basically saying that this risk is a perceived risk. Because how the hell these sperm know? You know, and we know that biology is smart. The different mechanisms within our body, like, have their own brain of their own. They, you know, that results in certain functions. So he's like, how would sperm even know that they're in competition? Can they be able to detect foreign sperm that are not like them? But then we look at, I mean, when they talk about like racial differences and stuff, and they say that like between races we are 99% genetically the same. Alright? This is on a species level. When you think of like microscopically looking at sperm, how the hell, what will be the differences between sperm from two different men? I mean, we know there are differences genetically. There's genetic information encoded in that sperm. And you can go and tell, but with the sperm, are they coded in such a way where they be able to know and say, you're not like us, we're going to kill you because we want to get to this egg to fertilize this egg. But they're saying that this biological function of the sperm is linked to psychology because there's a perceived, has to be a perceived risk, right? And an understanding from the man who is the host of these sperm that he knows about another man that is fucking his wife. And he knows that this man, like, I'm like, what? This seems so pseudo. But I need to go and read the full article to see how this research study was done and to get the specifics of it, you know, because I'm just like, something ain't adding up. What if the man doesn't want? You know, this is with the understanding or assumption that the man wants to procreate. What if he's like, no, I don't want no kids, you know? Is his sperm still going to be competing with the rival sperm? Alright, here we go. On the other hand, ejaculates are costly to produce and males are favored who economize over the number of sperm inseminated. Now, I did not do further investigation on how in the hell are ejaculates costly when men have, what, billions of sperm? There's like, men have countless numbers of sperm, so how is it costly for men to ejaculate? And there's this whole thing about semen retention. I came across that. People be talking about all kind of stuff on IG or on Facebook, but I've been kind of been on IG lately, where you have men who have made a conscious decision to, an effort, not just a decision, but they put effort into retaining their sperm for nutrients. So they'll have sex with a woman. I'm like, how would you do that to yourself? Why would you? That's torture. They have sex with the woman up until the point of ejaculation, right? And then they hold back. They don't release. I'm like, isn't the point of sex just you want to release it? Why the fuck would you put yourself through that torture, that pain, to get aroused, to reach the climax, and then you can't even orgasm? Please tell me, what kind of sense does that make guys who are doing this? And I've came across this with guys who are health conscious. Like, this whole health conscious movement, people be going crazy. They develop their own theories, interpretations of stuff. And I'm just like, y'all are crazy, okay? And they assume that holding back the ejaculation, it goes back into the man, like it goes back up the man's reproductive system into his body, and the semen disperses into his bloodstream, and it carries nutrients that is really beneficial for him. That's what they postulate. I'm like, what? But on a psychological and emotional level, it seems like that has to be very distressing. So do the benefits outweigh the cost, the psychological cost? These biological benefits of retaining the sperm, does it outweigh the psychological emotional cost of the stress not being able to release? Is like, is it even worth it? Fuck that. Release that shit. That's just my opinion. We all got our own opinions, but I'm like, my opinion, release it. Just release it. Let it go. Like, why are you holding it in? So this reminded me of that. I'm just like, y'all be coming up with all kinds of stuff, man. Alright. So they say this paper analyzes sperm numbers and other ejaculation data from 35 human couples, which I don't think is a significant sample size, but whatever. 2, data relating to the most recent copulation reported by 3,587 women. Now that is a very significant amount of participants for a research study. That's a lot. 3 sets of predictions based on sperm composition theory are tested. These are that the number of sperm inseminated should be a function of 1, risk of sperm competition. We already talked about that. 2, female reproductive value, which I have yet to operationalize or figure out what the operational definition of female reproductive value is, because we can look at the face value, what we think it means on a surface level. Who's to say that's what it actually means? I mean, if I had to define it without doing further research, I would simply say female reproductive value is her, I think that's really subjective too, right? Or is it actual her ability, like reproductive ability, or reproductive value? Because value is more subjective, but ability, that's something that you can measure, right, objectively. So it makes you kind of like, What's up, Giovanni? Giovanni, where did you tell me where you're from? Did you say you're from Georgia? So we got somebody who is more versed in, this topic. Probably the guy who proposed this video topic. And comment if you want. You don't have to, or you can email me to clarify what the hell female reproductive value. And 3, optimum partitioning of ejaculates between successive and paired copulations. We just like, what the hell is that? You gotta read more, because in research, this is just the abstract. So of course they're gonna use all of these constructs, throw them all in there in the abstract, because it's kind of a summary of the research, and then you go deeper where they actually operationalize these definitions to give a more clear understanding of what the hell is this construct? What are we talking about here? During in-pair copulation, the male used successive inseminations to top up the population of sperm in his female partner. And it says post-copulatory. Like, this is after sexual relations. So I'm like, they say it can be done like in the relationship, right? Like where the man actually has sex with the woman, but also can be done through masturbation, where he's increasing his sperm, semen volume. I'm like, what? I didn't think that men had that ability. I just, like I said, I thought it was nature. I thought that men just, who you see the sperm shooting out, like, damn, that's a lot of sperm. I thought it was just, they're gifted, talented, right? They were just born with it, Not that they actually have, they have control over this, Like, whoa. Okay. I'm from New York, raised there, living in Philly. I have family in Georgia. Alright, that's what's up. New York, New York. What part of New York are you from? I'm all up in your Kool-Aid. Where were we at? Okay. In accordance with sperm composition theory, 1, individual males inseminated more sperm when the pair had spent a smaller portions of their time together, and hence risk of sperm competition was greater. So they're saying that there's a correlation between the amount of time couples spend together and the perceived risk of sperm competition. The less time spent together, the more perceived risk. Kind of makes sense, like theoretically. Think about it. But I might have to go and get access to this full article, because I'm just like, makes you wonder, like, how did they actually do this study? What was the procedures? What was the methods? I would imagine survey, but in terms of being able to measure the amount of sperm, how do they do that? Do they go into a lab? Do they have that man ejaculate in a cup and count the number of sperm under a microscope? 2, larger females were inseminated with more. See, they spelled word wrong. Come on now. No proofreader for this article. You're losing your credibility now. There's a typo. There's a spelling error. Larger females were inseminated with more sperm than smaller females. It's talking about larger females in size, in terms of her body size. An apparent contradiction to sperm composition theory. The number of sperm inseminated did not vary according to female orgasm pattern or the probability of conception. Who wrote this? Oh, it was a man, misogynistic man. This sounds like some sexist shit right here. So the man has control, but the woman doesn't have control? Doesn't influence the amount of sperm and this competition that's happening, that's produced? Come on now. Rutland Road. You're from Rutland Road, Flatbush, Brooklyn. The 90s West Indian Quarters. Okay. What's life like in Philly? I heard it's like where the bourgeoisie, the black bourgeoisie live. They dominate Philly from what I heard. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? This apparent failure of the theory may instead be due to the male's lack of necessary information. It's always some potholes in theories, like, and you will have one study saying one thing, right, and another study totally disproving that. So much research out there. Paradoxically, male mammals seem to waste huge numbers of sperm through spontaneous emission and self-masturbation. Such shedding of sperm could be adaptive if it led to more competitive and more fertile inseminates at the next copulation. The data show that a recent male masturbation reduced the number of sperm inseminated at the next copulation, but not the number retained by the female. It is concluded that masturbation is a male strategy to increase sperm fitness without increasing sperm numbers in the female tract. The possibility, that just sounds like something that a male, that's his own subjective bias, you know. The possibility that in the absence of sperm competition, the probability of fertilization decreases if too many sperm are inseminated is discussed. This later factor may be more important than ejaculate cost, is favoring male restraint over the number of sperm inseminated. Ciao. It sounds like pseudoscience, but we're going to have to do, and I realize there's a lot of research on this. We're talking about millions of results in the search. When I did the search on Google, I'm like, damn, they have millions of stuff coming up. Millions. I also tried to research who founded this theory. I don't think I spent much time doing it, because I mean, I type something in Google, I expect the answer to pop up, like, pop up, motherfucker, you know. Not that I have to keep digging, but I'm pretty sure I can find it somewhere. And somebody who's watching this, if you know the founder of this theory, because it has to be someone who coined this theory, who came up with it, who developed it, put that person's name below. Because I think it's helpful when we are talking about interpreting research, right? Analyzing research, that we not only look, we of course thoroughly read the research, the study, right? But we kind of do some investigation of who wrote this, you know what I'm saying, who created this research, because it is very telling. I think it informs, because we have to understand that, yes, as much as people would like to look at science as from an objective standpoint of view, it still has a subjective component to it. I don't care what nobody say, no matter how hard the science is, because we like to say, oh, chemistry and physics and biology are hard sciences, meaning like there's less room for subjectivity. But there's always room for subjectivity, even if you want to say it's 2% subjective, right? That's what you say, but it's still subjective. So, and people add their own interpretation of what the numbers mean. When they do the research, they collect the data, they still add their own, they project their own interpretation of what those numbers mean. That projection is basically subjective. It's coming from them, which stems from their own experiences in life, things they have been exposed to, their own socialization that they've gone through. So this theory probably needs more work, but I find it interesting now. I find it interesting, but I'm not buying it. Like, some things you read, you're like, oh, like, especially in psychology, right? There's a lot of theories in psychology that make so much sense, and you buy it right away without question, because you're just like, okay, that makes so much sense. That's like, it's right there. It's clear as day, right? For example, the Brunner theory, the ecological systems. I love that theory. It makes a lot of sense. It's like, it's plain and simple. It's very straightforward. And then you got some theories, it's just like they go here, they start here, they go here and here, and they try to link all this shit together, and you're just like, okay, this is a whole complete mess, because it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, right? Like, you're trying to tie all of these loosely connected things together that really don't have a connection. And therein lies the problem. I get it, you want to make these correlations, but just because you run the numbers and you find a correlation doesn't mean you can say, oh, something causes something. Because you said earlier, I was reading earlier, like I said in this video, when you said something comes as a result of something, you basically are implying causation. And it's like, you can't really do that. You got to be careful in implying causation when it comes to research related to human beings. For some people, it feels great to have this area stimulated, and for others, not so. It's all about preference and self-exploration. I don't know, what the hell are you talking about? You have your own conversation, Ibrahim. See, in order to engage with me on these videos, you have to say things that are related. You can't, I mean, I get it, you guys have your own needs you need to fulfill, right? Maybe you're sex deprived, so you want me to talk about certain things that are stimulating to you, right? But I'm not trying to really stimulate. I do want to stimulate your mental, right? But some of y'all are trying to get stimulated in other areas, you know? What are you talking about? What you talking about, Ibrahim? But yeah, that's just my take on it. So that's my video. I did it for you guys. You know, you requested the video. I did it. I also tried to do some like personal introspection and see how does this theory relate to my own personal life, right? My own personal experience. And I'm just like, do I want to go there? Does it really apply? Because sometimes to understand something, you gotta like apply it to your own life or to the lives of people that you know are close to you. I'm just like, imagine that. Imagine sperm competing from different male partners that I've had in the past, but I doubt it. Imagine one sperm killing the other, and then they just all kill each other off, and then I don't even get pregnant. So I'm not pregnant because competing sperm are just killing each other off, hypothetically speaking, right? I don't know. I find it to be very funny though. This is a fun topic, you know. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this, right? Share your comments below. I probably will take a nap sometime throughout today because I'm a little sleep deprived. I only got 4 hours of sleep. I usually get like 7 hours of sleep. I only got 4 last night. I was up for like hours on the phone. We were going in. We didn't realize we was on the phone that long, right? like over 4 hours talking. And I'm looking at the time step on my phone. It's like, we've been talking for over 4 hours. And he was like, oh, I didn't even notice. I said, well, I looked down because I realized sometimes my phone actually cuts off after 4 hours. It just does. I'm like, what? I don't know. I don't understand why. Maybe it's a network thing where if certain times during the day, depending on what network you're on, I'm on T-Mobile network. Like, so many people on the network, they want to limit the amount of people that's on the network at that particular time. So they do that by, you know, limiting the amount of time you can talk in one session, one phone session. So I've had that happen to me, and people are like, damn, you be talking for that long? I mean, I can talk. I know how to stimulate a conversation, you know, with people. I've had like conversations that last over 4 hours on the phone with people, you know, especially my best friend lives in Ohio. We talk shit. We can talk all day. I'm like, damn, we on the clock. Motherfucker be on the clock, on the work clock. Like 8 hours. Like, what the hell? What could we talk about that much? But everything. You know, I'm an intellectual person. I love to have stimulating conversations. You know, that's my thing. And when it's, you know, bi-directional, it's not just me doing all the talking. Well, sometimes I find myself doing all the talking, and then, you know, they get this drift, and they like realize they have to interrupt me, because if you don't interrupt me, like when I get going, I can go. And I've always been like this. Like, this is not something that just developed like in early adulthood or whatever. No, like since I was a little kid, you guys. This is kind of a sidebar, but yeah, like shit. I could tell you about my my experience in, I told you guys about my experience in kindergarten. On the first day of kindergarten, my teacher snitched on me. I'll tell my mom. When my mom came to pick me up, she was like, oh, Danielle was really good, but she's a motor mouth. I'm like, seriously? I'm a motor mouth? But I helped her like teach the class. Like, I was one of those kids that was a teacher's assistant in kindergarten, teaching other little kids stuff that I already was taught before I started school. Ibrahim says, how do women have orgasms? Well, that's for another video. This video is coming to an end, but I appreciate you guys for watching this video. It's very stimulating, you know, to have this discussion, to even learn about such theories that people come up with. I still have yet to know who developed this theory, but if you know, please let us know below, and I'll check you guys later. Bye.